Okay, in this video, we're going to explore a schema that usually leads to shame and anger. It's one that activates all of our emotional child parts when our needs are not being met, and it can often leave us with a sense of entitlement, feeling like things are just not fair, all of which are driven by our need for others to fix our emotional problems. So today, let's talk about the schema of dependence. When the schema of dependence is activated within our personality system, life itself seems really overwhelming. We constantly feel like we can't cope with things that happen to us on a daily basis. We believe that we're incapable of taking care of ourselves in the world, and therefore we have to turn to other people to get the help we need over and over again. There's a subconscious feeling that it's only with this help that we can survive, and at the core of the experience of dependence, there's also a sense that it's a constant struggle to fulfill the normal responsibilities of adult living because we simply don't have what it takes to get things done. An image that really captures the essence of the schema of dependence is one of a small child who feels that suddenly the world is too much to handle and starts to cry for the help of their parents. And it's this feeling of being a small child in a world of adults without an adult to take care of us that causes us to feel like we're completely lost in the world without the support of other people. This story tends to originate either in parents who are overprotective or in parents who are underprotective. Overprotective parents keep their children dependent by reinforcing dependent behaviours and discouraging independent behaviours. Underprotective parents, on the other hand, fail to take care of their children, and from a very early age, they feel as though they're on their own in a world in which they have to function beyond their years. It's important to point out that this schema can be conceived by what's happening in the actuality of the environment or by the perception of the vulnerable child at the time of its inception. In other words, the particular stories that are linked to this schema might have actually played out the way we remember them to, or they may be coloured by the perception of seeing life through the eyes of the emotionally sensitive child that we were at that particular time. The schema of dependence is one that many people can relate to, and some are not even aware of as a dominant story in their system. For me, it presented in a variety of different ways, and it usually left me with a general sense that I couldn't cope with life, that I couldn't trust my own decisions, or I couldn't take any action of any kind in difficult times without somebody else there helping me or being there to bail me out when the proverbial hit the fan. As it is with all schemas, I wasn't walking around with this story consistently in my system, but when it was active, I found myself regularly dealing with thoughts of incompetence. My internal critics were constantly pointing out how this was too much for me to handle, or that I was going to fall apart with all this responsibility, which left me in a state of fear that was completely debilitating. My dominant coping mechanisms for this fear, my solution to the emotional problem that was created by the schema of dependence, was either experiential avoidance or substance use. Making simple decisions became harder and harder for me to do, and I'd often find myself giving in to the wants of others because I couldn't handle the possibility of rejection if I asked for what I wanted. Unfortunately for me, this normally left me holding on to a sense of resentment for others. A narrative of anger and blame that was fueled by fear and anxiety was pretty much an ever-present state in my system. On my numerous attempts at recovery, I found my system pushing back against this story of dependence. I was unable to ask for the support I needed for fear of rejection, choosing instead to just generally take on my journey alone and never reaching out for support. I would basically just tell others how great I was doing and offer them advice that would provide me with the validation that I was looking for, but basically lead me to my own self-destruction. Taking steps towards achieving independence and autonomy was key to my debunking this debilitating story and working towards the life I wanted to live. Using the dialectical behaviour therapy skills of stop, checking the facts, radical acceptance, planning ahead to build mastery, and paying attention to positive events were all completely key and absolutely necessary for me to develop in my behavioural responses so that I could change the way I reacted to the stories of this schema. At the bottom of the website page that's connected to this particular video, you're going to find a worksheet that's designed to help you figure out if the schema of dependence is one that's dominant for you in your personality system. If you can, download the PDF and work through the questions. take your time to think things through. Remember that we can find a little bit of every schema within our personal stories. So what we're trying to find are the dominant ones that take us into that emotional place that we're desperately trying to escape from. And if you've got an opinion on this, or actually anything else to do with the integration of DBT and schema therapy, please leave a comment in the chat. I'd really like to hear your point of view. If you'd like to know more, come join the live online meetings that I facilitate each week on Zoom. I'll leave some links to those groups in the description below. As always, if you like the content of this video, please subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and turn on those notifications to get all the latest from me and the Liberation Place. I really hope this video gave you some ideas on how the schema of dependence might be relevant to you and your own personality system. Thanks for watching. See you again soon. Take care, be safe, and be well.